Vanguard, they've said they're going to continue fighting for climate reduction.
Right? They're some of the biggest investor and asset managers in the world. They all left your group. Why'd they leave?
Well, they all have different reasons. BlackRock is only
they all left at sort of the same time. It must be something going on here.
Can you repeat the question, please?
For the 42 oil and gas companies that Climate Action 100 focuses on, the way for them to reduce emissions would be for them to reduce their outputs. Is that correct?
What we focus on with the companies that we engage.
Why won't you answer my question?
I'm attempting to answer your question.
No, you're not. You're trying to avoid it.
I mean, you guys said Climate Action 100, you're all part of this group. You said your goal is to reduce carbon emissions, and you got this focus list, 170 companies that you're targeting to change how they do things. And you said of that 170, 1/4 of them are oil and gas companies. 42 are oil and gas companies. And what I want to know is, in order to reduce carbon emissions, do those 42 companies, oil and gas companies, on the target list, on the focus list, do they have to reduce production?
I don't think anybody knows how the climate transition is going to take place.
That's not what I ask you. Do they have to reduce production or not? They're in the business of making oil and gas, producing oil and gas. And I'm asking you, do they have to stop or lower, decrease oil and gas production?
As I say, I don't think anybody knows how the climate
Ms. Lamb, what do you think?
I think that the oil and gas industry is facing enormous headwinds because of global emissions going up so much. And so I think that those companies are challenged and are going to have
I didn't ask if they were challenged. I didn't ask about headwinds. I asked a simple question. Do you think they have to reduce production of oil and gas?
I think each company needs to take a look at their business model and figure out how
you don't think
they're
that
going to
they can increase production? You're okay with that?
I think that each oil and gas
If a company making their product wants to make more of the product, are you okay with that?
I think that the product of oil and gas companies is energy, and they can look and see how they can best produce energy for their customers.
So what do you mean? When you got 42 oil and gas companies on your focus list and you want to reduce carbon emissions, are oil and gas companies going to be allowed to encourage, engage, whatever term you want to use? Are they going to be able to make more oil and gas or less oil and gas? What do you think they should do?
Oil and gas companies can do whatever they want because...
Well, then why are they on your focus list? What are you trying to get them to do?
As investors that consider the financial
Ms. Luber, will you answer the question, because the other two folks won't? Do you think oil and gas companies should be able to make more oil and gas, or do they have to make less?
They don't necessarily have to make less. Let me give you
So do you guys all disagree with Mr. Khanna?
No.
I played Mr. Khanna's clip. Congressman Ro Khanna said to the CEO of Chevron, are you embarrassed? I'll read it. Are you embarrassed that as an American company, your production is going up? Should they be embarrassed because they're producing more? Should an oil and gas company be embarrassed because they're producing more oil and gas?
So oil and gas companies should limit their greenhouse gas emissions. That doesn't immediately mean they produce less. Oil and gas companies...
So it means later they produce less?
No, what it means is they
Are you disagreeing? Here's a question. Are you disagreeing with Mr. Congressman Khanna, or are you agreeing with him?
Please repeat what he said.
He said to the CEO of Chevron, are you embarrassed as an American company that you're producing, that your production is going up?
Yeah, I don't know.
Obviously wanting the production to go down.
Context. I do know
that's the context. He went through all of them. All of them said, will you pledge to reduce production? I'm just asking you guys, as the guys who have 42 oil and gas companies on your target list, is it okay for oil and gas companies to actually increase oil and gas production?
If they could decrease their emissions in the process, I think they would be looked at differently. Regardless, so many of the oil and gas companies have decreased their methane emissions.
Anybody recently leave Climate Action 100? Any of your investment members, your member investors, anyone recently leave Climate Action 100?
About a dozen.
About a dozen? Can you name some of those companies?
Sure.
Small companies, big investors, small investors, who were they?
Some combination, but I would argue more, and there were some household names. I would also
some big ones, weren't there?
Yep, BlackRock.
BlackRock's pretty big.
Morgan.
JP Morgan, that's pretty big.
In all of those cases, Vanguard, they've said they're going to continue fighting for climate reduction.
Right? They're some of the biggest investor and asset managers in the world. They all left your group. Why'd they leave?
Well, they all have different reasons. BlackRock is only
they all left at sort of the same time. It must be something going on here.
They've heard a lot. They've got a lot of pressure from Congress and others that they should leave. BlackRock said to us, we're going to continue.
We're not pressuring anybody. We just want to know what you guys are up to. 42 oil and gas companies on your focus list, and you can't even tell me if you want production of oil and gas to go up or down for them.
No, what I have said was that some of them have increased production but reduced emissions. The greenhouse gas emissions that
Are you for ending the internal combustion engine in the next 10 years?
That is the direction that our government is going, and I think it's the direction that the automakers have
You agree with
determined
that?
makes sense.
Getting rid of
yes.
the internal combustion engine in 10 years.
Yes.
Are you for reducing airline flight travel by 12%?
I don't know the numbers for airline flights.
Do you want it to go down?
Not necessarily. I don't think.
What about okay? Well,
answer,
the last question is, what about hamburgers? Where do you stand on hamburgers? Is 1.5 a week enough, or do we get more? Chairman Massey wants to know. He's got some of the best grass-fed beef I've ever had.
People should have freedom of diet.
What's that?
I said people should have freedom of diet.
Oh, so you don't agree with that?
Well, in all cases, there are other ways to fix the challenges.
Newsflash: Ceres is okay with us eating more hamburger, Chairman.
Eat what you would
Newsflash:
like.
Ceres is okay with that.
Eat what you would like.
I yield back.
Thank you.
Mr. Bienvenu, in your testimony, you state that, to be clear, this is engagement, not divestment. We would agree, which is why the report this committee put out yesterday came to the same conclusion. Where we disagree is that your engagement is designed to fundamentally change business and industries to the detriment of consumers in a matter which is indeed not collaboration, but collusion. CalPERS is a founding member of Climate Action 100. Is that correct?
Climate Action 100 Plus was founded by Ceres, and CalPERS was involved in its creation early on.
And CalPERS is a founding member of Climate Action 100, correct?
CalPERS is a founding member and a signatory to Climate
Thank you.
Action 100 Plus.
And Climate Action 100 has 170 focus companies, 42 of them being oil and gas companies. Is that also correct?
Climate Action 100 Plus has 170 focus companies and 42 oil and gas companies, where we come together and discuss ideas and make independent decisions on how we.
So my statement is correct. Is that right?
As I said, Climate Action 100 Plus has 170 focus companies, as I said in my opening statement, and 42 of them are oil and gas companies, where we come together to discuss independent.
And one of the objectives of the Climate Action 100 is for these focus companies to reduce their emissions. Is that correct?
Climate change is something that is happening.
Would you please answer my question?
There's context to your question.
And one of the objectives of Climate Action 100 is for these focus companies to reduce their emissions. Is that correct?
Climate change is something that is happening.
Is that correct? Answer my question, please.
As I say, climate change is something that is happening.
Andrew Bihar, the CEO of As You Sow, testified in his deposition that, quote, an oil and gas company could not reach net zero while continuing to produce fossil fuels, unquote. And As You Sow President Daniel Fugere testified that, quote, ultimately fossil fuel use has to be reduced, unquote. And GFANZ co-chair Mark Carney testified to the committee that, quote, more than half of the world's coal reserves need to stay in the ground in order for the world to be in line with Paris, unquote. So for the 42 oil and gas companies that Climate Action 100 focuses on, the way for them to reduce emissions would be for them to reduce their outputs. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question, please?
For the 42 oil and gas companies that Climate Action 100 focuses on, the way for them to reduce emissions would be for them to reduce their outputs. Is that correct?
What we focus on with the companies that we engage.
Why won't you answer my question?
I'm attempting to answer your question.
No, you're not. You're trying to avoid it.
What we focus on with the companies that we engage is for them to be long-term
and to reduce their outputs, correct?
We would never suggest that an organization that is an oil company.
Is CalPERS committed to pursuing policies which cuts fossil fuel outputs, even if that would increase prices on the American people?
CalPERS is focused on generating returns to pay pensions over generations.
And even if it makes it more difficult for them to put gasoline in their cars?
Again, our North Star is about producing returns to pay pensions.
That's not what you write, and it's not what you've testified to previously. Ms. Luber, Ceres is a co-founder and member of Climate Action 100. Is that also correct? Has Ceres and Climate Action 100 identified the ag sector, especially livestock production, as an industry which must reduce its emissions?
Microphone,
Would you turn on your
please.
microphone, please?
I believe there are some ag sector companies in that cohort.
Okay. And there's no way for the ag sector to reach net zero without reducing beef production, is there?
I don't know that that's clear. There are ways to do farming. There are ways to create energy that are less greenhouse gas emitting. I mean, many of the oil and gas companies that you were talking about, it's not about not producing, it's about creating options and transforming their technologies and capturing the oil and gas emissions.
You know, it's very interesting to me. My mother is 100 years old. She'll be 101. And the changes that she's seen in the last 100 years are absolutely mind-blowing in terms of the technological advances, the increase in life expectancy, the decrease in infant mortality rate, our overall prosperity, what we have created in this country. And there's one reason why we have seen the prosperity in the last 100 years that has never been rivaled in world history, and it's because of the commercial production of affordable energy. Every single one of you and your organizations want to destroy that. You are evil, and what you are attempting to do and the violations of law that you are engaged in is absolutely stunning. And I think it's telling that you won't answer my questions. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman.